Right here, I have all of the gear, food, and clothing that help me complete rim to rim to rim. And trust me, as somebody that's completed this, as well as many other ultras and long through hikes, this video is going to be your complete guide to making sure that you complete rim to rim to rim without any headache, any sort of bonking, and in the correct clothing and gear. I put my hat backwards for this. The first thing that I highly recommend is getting yourself a running vest like this. Now, this is a Salomon 12-liter running vest, and this thing is amazing for the simple fact that you can put in so much stuff in here. I mean, I stuffed this plumb full and I still had room. Highly recommend for every single runner, no matter if you're doing R3 or anything else. Now, the water bottles that I brought for these were the Salomon Soft Flask 500 liters. Now, I brought 3 of them for this run, and the one thing that I did that was different from probably a lot of people is I also brought this Salomon filter. It's got this handy little handle here. You go in, you can scoop the water with that handle super easily, then you put the filter in line with it and you can drink the water from there without having to filter it. Well, this filters it right through the flask. I didn't have to bring a separate filter. If I was getting anything out of the river, I would just scoop it, put it in line, and now I was good to go. So I brought 3 of those, and I used all 3 of them only one time, and that was on the ascent up South Rim. Wish I would have done it on the ascent up North Rim, but you know, we all learn, right? Next up was I had these Oakley Sutro sunglasses. Love these things. I've always used them. The one tip with these is don't put them directly in your pack without any kind of protection over them, because these got super scratched and I have to replace the lenses, unfortunately. Next, we have Body Glide. I will never do a run over 18 miles without Body Glide. I have to do it inside of my thighs, otherwise I chafe, and that will bring a grown man down. Not fun. Always got to have this and always bring it with me. Next is my headlamp. Super simple headlamp. It's a Foxelli. It's like 18 bucks on Amazon. I've used this for like 5 years and it's never ran out of battery on me. It's a rechargeable one, obviously, but this has gotten me through an entire night on my 100-miler, Mount Rainier, the night here on Rim to Rim to Rim. Perfect little headlamp, a little heavy, a little bulky, but gets the job done. Next is my watch. I had rocked a Coros Vertex 2 watch. Really good. Put the map on it and paired the watch with my heart rate monitor to make sure that my heart rate was low enough as I was running this, because I was afraid that it would get too jacked up from the heat and that it would be causing problems, which it did on the North Rim. And it was really crazy because my heart rate was about 10-15 beats lower going up the South Rim than the North Rim because it wasn't as hot. So that's a really good thing to monitor, especially when you're running rim to rim to rim, because of the fact that it's going to be hot and you don't want to obviously get like a heat stroke. For headphones, I use the Suunto Wing, and full disclosure, they provided me these headphones to try out and make a video with, and I found them pretty cool. These are an open ear design, so essentially what you do is you're going to put these over your ears like this, and they're not going to actually go inside your ear. They're just going to conduct on the outside of the ear. I would say there's a couple pros and cons with this. For example, like I did the Colorado Trail and there was a ton of bikers on this, and if I had my headphones in, my AirPod Pros, I could not hear them at all. They'd ring their bells. I couldn't hear them. I even had it in transparency mode. These are going to come in really handy for a really busy trail like that, where there's people passing you on all sides of it. These are also really good too if you're going to be sweating profusely, like if you're doing intervals outside, or if you're doing Grand Canyon rim to rim to rim, you're sweating a lot. And you know, with the AirPods, a lot of times they're gonna slide right out of your ear because of the sweat that comes down your head, essentially. And these are always gonna keep in place no matter how much you sweat. I think the one con with this is sometimes when I am wanting music on a trail run, I really wanna get locked in, and I don't want to actually have all of the outside distractions. And obviously this not being in the ear is not gonna give you that, but that's also not what they're designed for. But otherwise, really solid headphones, really neat, especially for things like riding your bike on the road so you can hear cars. Next up, we have my black, whoa, there goes one off the side. Black Diamond Distance Z carbon poles. I'm a huge proponent of trekking poles. Everybody knows that. These are amazing. One tip with these is I would totally shorten these up on the ascent and then lengthen them for descents. And it's really easy to do. You just click the button here to shorten them up. And that's really not a feature of these things, but it's great for the ascent because it makes them shorter. And then again, for the ascent, you can lengthen them like that. One tip with these also is I will roll some Leukotape around the outside of these just in case I get any blisters. It's super accessible, super easy to get. Next thing that I brought was my Garmin InReach Mini. And this was great because I was texting my girlfriend to let her know that I was okay along this run and when I would be back for her to pick me up. As I was editing this, guys, I did want to say one more thing that I brought along on the trail, and that was my Insta360. This is how I got all of the shots. Highly, highly recommend this. The reason is because I knew I didn't want to set up shots when I was running this. So my whole thing was I was just going to put this in me mode, which is essentially just holding onto this invincible selfie stick, and it was going to look like somebody was filming me the whole way. So I just tucked this into my vest. Need to have some sort of protection on it, preferably the one that it came with, so it's not grinding all the dirt into the lens. Yeah, this worked out famously for me. The next thing is this Bob and Brad's massage gun. Again, full disclosure, they provided this to me for a review, which I did a review on, but I love this thing, and so did my girlfriend's mother and my girlfriend. But I used this after my run to help me recover extremely quickly. But this is such a great gun and is going to provide a lot of relief if you're doing a big event like this. Really recommend. Okay, next we'll get into kind of some clothing. The shoes that I was rocking was the Topo Ultra Adventure 3. And I have about 425, 450 miles on these, and these performed really, really awesome for me. Now these are about starting to wear down. There's a lot of kind of wear down here in the heel, but one thing that I don't really like about these is the really minimal tread, and so I did just order a Mountain Racer 3, so we'll see how those are going to be. All right, next up for clothing is I rocked basically this Columbia PFG fishing shirt. Obviously it's white, so it doesn't draw in a lot of sun. I could unbutton it so it felt like I wasn't wearing a shirt, even though I was, and I was still getting sun protection, and it's short sleeves. So would also throw this in the water as much as I could and then put it back on me, and it felt super, super good. Next up we have my hat, which was a Mission Racer hat. Again, really awesome, really super lightweight hat, very comfortable to wear all day. Just keeps the sun out of your eyes, and that's really all I'm looking for. Light breathable and light colored, and this performed really well. The shorts that I rocked were just some Belief shorts. These were just from Amazon. I don't know where my black ones are that I actually wore on the run, but these were essentially exactly the same thing, just in a different color. And then the socks that I wore were these Darn Tough, super thin. I'm not sure how many inch length they were, but again, really, really good socks, solid socks. Use them for a lot of different adventures. Now, the one thing that I would recommend you getting instead of what I did when I was storing my trekking poles is to get some kind of quiver to put on the back of your pack here. I'll link it up and I'll kind of show you what it looks like here, one that I just ordered. I mean, you can do it in this pack with these little strings here, but it was really uncomfortable slamming against my back the entire freaking time. Next up is food for rim to rim to rim. And I'm gonna say I packed a little bit over 4,000 calories and I ate about that much. So I'm just gonna kind of walk through basically the things that work the best for me. Number one is these rec packs. Not sponsored by these guys, but these are amazing. These are 700 calories a pop, and essentially what it is a protein drink. If I could compare it to anything, it's got a bunch of powder in here. You fill it up from the top, shake it, and then you slurp it down. Now this is great because as anybody that's ever ran a long ways knows, you really don't crave solid food after a long time running. And I knew this was going to perform really well for me on the Grand Canyon because of the fact that it was liquid. I was going to be craving liquid anyway, and I knew that I wasn't going to be craving solid foods in my run. So I had one before, and then I also had one during my run. I probably would have brought another one and then probably would have got rid of some of my other solid food if I was to do this again. Some other things that performed really well for me were Uncrustables. I packed about 4 of these. These were freaking amazing. They had the jelly in the inside of them that really kind of also quenched my thirst, because I knew when I was running rim to rim to rim that I was going to be thirsty a lot of the times, and I didn't want anything that was going to be super dry. And everything that I did have that was dry, I had to drink a bunch of water afterwards to quench my thirst. I always bring a little tube of Nutella in these Coghlan squeeze tubes, just as a buffer against any calorie deficits that I might run into. And I was starting to slurp on this on the way up the South Rim. So always something that's really clutch, because Nutella's really got everything you need. Fat, calories, sugar. It's a dopamine shot because it's so good. This pack right here was my pack that I could not lose, and I was always paranoid about losing it because it contained 3 Element electrolyte packets. It also contained salt pills that I was popping every 45 minutes to 1 hour. I also brought these ginger chews just in case my stomach went south. Didn't you ever use them? And I also brought some Advil. The next big tip with this is to subscribe and like this video for more things just like this, more adventure runs, more tips like that for teeners, through hikes. Here's a video I think you're gonna like next. We'll see you for the next one.